everybody, and welcome to the show. Guys, I got to tell you, sometimes I just shake my head. What in the hell is going on with the Trump administration? And where's Donald Trump? Was he kidnapped? Was he body snatched? What happened to the guy who was the fighter from the first administration that stood for things? I mean, what? Trump is putting out another tweet telling Epstein's not real? 30 years of people talking about Epstein's child trafficking ring, including Democrats, Republicans, the courts, law enforcement. I mean, everybody on the planet knows that this is real. And Trump's advisors have him out there saying that it's not. Have they lost their minds? MAGA is, all this is doing is discrediting him in front of his base. This isn't 5D chess. This is appalling. It's an embarrassment. I love the president, but what the hell is he thinking? Does he have any clue? I mean, does he seriously believe that this is a Democrat hoax? I mean, who told him what? I find it hard to believe that he doesn't know what's going on here. I mean, I love the president, but for God's sakes, it's child trafficking. I'm not okay with it. I don't care how rich your buddies are. I don't care how wealthy the people are. I don't care who's doing it. I don't care if they're politically connected. I don't care if it was ran by our intelligence agencies or the intel agencies of our closest friends. Whoever did it was wrong and belongs in jail. You don't rape kids. It's not okay. So anyways, that's happening. Then we had the Maha conference yesterday. And the Maha conference brought to you by Susie Wiles and the White House, because that's about as clear as day. I mean, when you invite Pfizer to speak at the Maha conference, you know there's something wrong. Are you kidding me? Pfizer? To make America healthy again? How about to make America dead? That's what Pfizer does. Anyways, in case you can't tell, I'm a little wound up today, folks. I am not happy with what's going on. I mean, it's like, yeah, we all fought hard to get Trump in here to try and save our country. And instead of saving our country, all he's doing is saving corporate interests right now, because is this a surprise? His chief of staff literally runs is a managing partner at a lobbying firm that represented Pfizer and Gavi. Is this a surprise? It shouldn't be. But no one will talk about this. Everybody said, all the Republican influencers, all the GOP, all the conservative influencers, minus a few. There's a few of them, God bless the Hodge twins and a few. Everybody's too busy kissing Trump's rear and worried about losing access, because if you say anything about Susie Wiles, you completely lose access to this administration. But you know what? I'm going to try something novel. I'm going to try telling the truth and seeing where that takes us. I mean, I'm just saying that maybe, just maybe, the truth will set us free. And maybe, just maybe, that's what we got to do. So I got my friend Mark Sherwood here today. We're going to talk a little bit about this Maha stuff. We're going to get into this just absolutely baffling decision to continue to try and protect the Epstein child rapist ring, which I just cannot understand for the life of me. And we're going to cause some trouble today, because you know what? It's what we do. So the truth will set us free, even if it means that I get kicked in the groin a few times for telling it. So which is probably the way this is all going to go. Before I get going any further, please, we got to have your support. We need your help. GiveSendGo.com/Renslaw. GiveSendGo.com/Renslaw. I don't think anybody is going to be hooking me up with major donors. I don't think the GOP or the Democrats are going to support me, since I rip them both. I'm pretty sure the only way I can keep telling you the truth is if you support me. So please help us. GiveSendGo.com/Renslaw. Support us. Give whatever you can. Become a monthly donor. Become a donor. If you care about the truth, if you want the truth out there, you're going to have to help fund it, because no one's going to do it. We won't sell out to anybody. We keep telling the truth regardless of who it pisses off. So if you want to hear the truth, I need your help. Please support us. Please hit share and like, share and like, share and like. We are getting suppressed on every single platform, I can tell you. It's kind of ridiculous. Some we do pretty good on, others it's tough. But I mean, it's tough right now. I need your help and support on that too. So make sure you're sharing and liking this show. And then go to TomRenz.com, www.tomrenz.com. And we need as much help as we can get there. We need you to go to shop, check out our shop, our partners and affiliates, and support all these guys. We got the best part. We love our partners and affiliates. You scroll down, you can see you got to use Renz at checkout for pretty much all these guys. You get huge discounts if you use Renz at checkout. Dalsa, we love Dalsa. All natural, 100% organic, just wonderful product. It's a sweetener. Quit using sugar at home. Use Dalsa. It's a great product. I use it in my coffee. I use it in all sorts of things. Wonderful, wonderful health benefits instead of poisoning yourself with processed sugars. But today, of course, we got my friend Mark. Mark and Michelle Sherwood are wonderful people. So you got to scroll down here and to Kingdom Fuel. Right? This is Mark and Michelle. Now, when you go here to Kingdom Fuel, if you click Sherwood TV/Tom Renz, and you got to use Renz at checkout code. So when you go there, always use Renz at checkout. Click Sherwood TV Tom Renz, and it'll take you here. And I'm doing this for you because I love these guys, and I want you to see. So you go here, and you'll see this comes up. You see my ugly mug. Click here, right? Whether you do the DNA testing or not, if you click here, what's going to happen is you're going to have the opportunity to get Mark and Michelle to be your doctors. They're my doctors. If I get the sniffles, which I don't really ever get because I take care of myself, Mark and Michelle take care of me. If I have an aneurysm, which I feel like I might have today when I look at the news, I can call Mark and he'll take care of me. They're my doctors. They're good people. Connect with Mark and Michelle. Make them your doctors. They can help you with hormone replacement, peptides, genetic testing if you want it. They can just help you with your normal, whatever sick or well care you need. But they are wonderful people. Make sure you're using them. So support my friends, Mark and Michelle, at Sherwood.tv/Tom-Renz. All right. Let's move into, well, first of all, let's bring my friend Mark on. Mark, let's get you on screen. And it's been a minute. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well, Tom. It's great to see you. You look very well, and I appreciate all you're doing, man.
Well, I feel great since I got good doctors. Of course, the truth of the matter is, and one of the things that you get with Mark and Michelle is they'll light a fire under your rear and tell you that you probably ought to be eating right, taking care of yourself, exercising. They do tell me I should probably sleep once in a while, but nobody's perfect. That helps you feel good and look good and to be in decent shape. I mean, that's all part of it. So I hope people are supporting you, Mark. I got a pretty good idea how you're going to feel about all this. But we had the MAHA summit yesterday, and I know you're traveling and probably didn't get a chance to watch that Pfizer commercial that was, did I say that? Listen, this summit, and I'm going to give you kind of a run. To me, no question what's going on here, was ran 100% from the White House. Almost no actual MAHA people spoke. It was almost entirely just administration officials because they have to control the narrative, which, Susie Wiles makes sure that she does because she is owned and controlled by pharma. But if we look at this, first things first, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm seeing things and I'm seeing, okay, we've got just a few of their key people. Regeneron, CRISPR Therapeutics, Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, Pfizer, AstraZeneca. They're discussing drug development, GLP-1 weight loss drugs, which I don't have problems with the peptides, but I don't know that I like Ozempic all that much. Most favored nation pricing deals with groups like Pfizer because we need more of them, et cetera, et cetera. Does that sound? Mark, you and I are about as MAHA as it gets. Does this resonate with you?
It doesn't. We are really, and I'll just say it like this: we may be living a little bit longer, but we've never been sicker longer in life. We are the most unhealthy we've ever been in the history of the United States of America. We're not getting any better. We're getting more fat, more sluggish, more metabolically dysfunctional, and we're getting more people that are hooked on drugs. I mean, Tom, right now, you're looking at probably 60% of the population are on 2 to 3 drugs, and that's not okay. The drug usages is going down in age as well. So now children are doing it, and it's, and here we are. We're not getting better. We're not putting at the top of the food line, if you will, the top of the chain, the real reasons that we're sick. And it's because we're subsidizing things that are bringing us death. And that's just the way it is. And it makes me very sad. But the bottom line is despite all the best efforts of this great country in regard to health, we are now increasing sick span and decreasing health span. Well done, America.
Yep. 100%. And it's getting worse, not better. I mean, I don't care how many food dyes you take out. If you replace them with ODing on Ozempic, that ain't going to be good.
No, and I'll say this too, like at that summit, that's the first time I've seen that agenda, but you're only going to find truth and real viable, verifiable, and actionable information if you're dealing with people that are down in the trenches dealing with people. And not a one of those people actually get in the lives of anybody, because you can't talk to them and they're not seeing clients, they're not seeing patients, they don't have any sort of influence base like that. So, it's just a bunch of bureaucrats doing their bureaucratic things.
Yeah, 100%. And this was, like I said, this was appalling. Now, the rumors, and of course, no one's allowed to confirm this, but the rumors are that, to sign in to work for this administration, you got to sign contracts and pledges of loyalty and all these sorts of things. And basically what it is this administration controls every single person in it from the top down to the fullest extent possible, except for the leftists that they won't seem to fire or remove, who are undermining Trump. Those people can get away with anything. But if you actually are trying to honor your pledge, you're basically tied down. So that's something that's interesting, because when you see this whole summit, it was all administration officials. There's almost nobody. There was certainly no Peter McCullough, Mary Tyler Bowden. I didn't see my invitation there, but I wouldn't expect that. This was really just garbage after garbage after garbage. Not one thing. I mean, they talked about Tylenol, but they seemed to forget about vaccines. Particularly when certainly Tylenol. Tylenol, and I've made this point before, it's made over the counter in 1959, and there was no noticeable increase at all in autism. Now, the mid-'80s roll around, and you've got the Vaccine Immunity Act that's put out there, and suddenly autism explodes. Now, Mark, I'm not a scientist, so you help me. You tell me, if you were doing the science on this, does it seem more likely that that the thing that was available from 1959 that had no noticeable effect on autism rates is the culprit, or does it seem more likely that the thing that they changed and then autism rates exploded, which is vaccines, is more likely the culprit? I need a scientist to help me with this.
Well, I want to teach everybody right now how to think like a scientist, because you have to have critical thinking skills, and it's not that hard. So first of all, back in the 1950s, you also, and I'm going to answer this question in 2 parts. Back in the 1950s, you also had the campaign to smoke cigarettes as well. So the nicotine, remember all the doctors were smoking and things like that. Okay, so at the same time, you get these things out there, and there's not showing negatives or whatever. You get to the 80s, and all of a sudden now, you have this Vaccine Immunity Act, and then you also had the food pyramid. At that particular time in history, you also had at the same time, maybe smoking is not good for you, So I find that irony at the time. But at that time, you not only saw autism go up, you saw cancers go up, obesity go up, type 2 diabetes go up, autoimmune conditions skyrocket. So the leaky gut phenomenon began to blossom. And that began the downfall of our nation in regard to health. And then you got this massive push at that point, again, from vaccines to make more profitability, and then lobbying increased. Lobbying from big pharma increased into big government because now you have to put a full court pressure on it because which drug you're going to buy. You know, you got to commercialize this thing, man. So you got all this stuff happening at the same time in history,
Yeah.
and no one seems to want to deal with the root causes. You know, we want to kind of cherry pick it as well, but the bottom line is anything the government, and I've said this before, I'm not trying to slam our government, but I want people to understand critical thinking. This is data you cannot ignore. It's association data. When this happened, this happened. You got more than one thing happened at that time in history. You cannot deny that. That's according to CDC. If you want to use the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention as your benchmark, they still prove that the experiment of America's health has failed, and government subsidization of the food and vaccines of, you know, specifically the wheat crop, corn, soy, beer, dairy, you know, all this stuff, meat, again, they really caused the problem, and they capitalized on it by making people sick and making profitability out of sickness. And I think that's the most sad indictment upon our country that I can think of regarding what we're doing to our people.
Well, it's appalling, and it's absolutely clear that, you know, in the mid 80s, they kicked in the war on people's health, and it worked. I mean,
Yep.
it's when it really went full. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all know the history going back to the Rockefellers. But the reality is that in the mid 80s, they really decided to take a next level, and it worked really well. It wasn't all that hard. You know, you need food pyramid. You need a whole bunch of processed sugars and carbs because that'll help you, right? I mean,
Yeah, and you need to avoid fats. Remember that. We got to avoid fats.
Yeah.
Remember, fats are bad. Cholesterol causes heart disease again. And at the same time, I meant to tell you, like, so if cholesterol causes heart disease, they sort of forgot about the idea of cigarettes stopping at that point in time. So if cigarettes stopped at that point in time, at the same time you said cholesterol was bad, could it have been the cessation of smoking programs that actually made heart disease go down? I think so, probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, nicotine's got a lot of benefits that nobody wants to talk about. Now, I do understand that, you know, of course, at this point, they take the tobacco that's in the cigarettes and they poison it with so many extra chemicals and add-ons that it probably does cause a lot of problems. But nicotine itself has been around forever. I mean, you know, the Native Americans, long before us, were chewing tobacco leaves, and they seem to be okay. But you know, it's an interesting. Yeah, Artis and his team, and you know, a lot of people have done work on nicotine, and they've just found so many different benefits. And if I actually did some homework myself and was really surprised, you know, the nicotine, it's not actually, there's no harmful issues with nicotine. The only thing they come up with is that it's mildly addictive, but there's no, like, I can't find anything talking about actual downsides to nicotine.
Well, there actually is. It can be stimulatory. It can be drive cortisol high. It can be addictive, of course, as you mentioned.
So too much of it.
Yeah, well, it depends because a lot of people that are making those claims out there, including the team you mentioned, they're not factoring in genetic factors such as the receptors that are coded individually from genetics to determine, is this person highly sensitive to the nicotine environmental or epigenetic stimulus or not? And that determines a lot of addiction components. Additionally, you know, you can look at those data points, and I've looked at some of those articles, and they're nothing more than association articles. I haven't seen causation articles as of yet. Looking for it, but anybody want to bring them on, send them my way, I'd love to read that. But there's a lot of people out there that are pushing nicotine all the time, even in kids, and I frankly think that's pretty irresponsible. I'd rather push good values on kids and tell them to just, you know, be healthy instead of looking for little things like that. But again, different strokes for different folks, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I always appreciate because you look at it from a pretty nuanced perspective.
Yeah.
And but I mean, that's what you do if you're an actual science. If you're into real science, there's a lot of nuance to it. So going back to the MAHA, and it's sad because I like a lot of the people that are involved with this, right? I mean, like there's some good people there that's just like, you can see what's happening. You know, the White House is tying their hands. They can't do this, can't do that. But I don't know if that really is an excuse or not. I mean, when you had HHS Secretary O'Neill there, who's CDC director right now, he moderated a panel on reversing aging and brain-computer interfaces. Mark, does that? I mean, is that Maha to you? Or, I mean, am I missing something? How the hell is this Maha?
Well, probably if we look at longevity, aging, healthy aging, let's say,
That I can
uh,
get behind.
yeah, part of this is really about not understanding why people age. People age not because of a lack of technology, a lack of biotechnology, a lack of drugs. And people age because we're supposed to age, but we're aging too fast because of several reasons. And I'll lay these things out for you. One, our expectations are very poor. We have a life, quote unquote, expectancy in America of males, probably upper 70s, 80, and ladies a couple of years later than that. But does that even match up with reality? Probably not. I surmise that our life expectancy, probably organ expectancy, better said, is about 120 years. So our expectancy is wrong like that. So they've coached us into expectancies being about 2/3 of what is potentially possible. The second part of this is that when you look at the very core of the aging process, it's right down at the base, the smallest organism we know about right now that actually we can understand is probably the mitochondria. The mitochondria becoming dysfunctional, or mitochondrial dysfunction is a general rule. Let me say it another way: free radical or inflammatory cellular buildup. When you start going down that pathway, you're talking about the aging processes and all the things that drive the aging processes are going to be like poor lifestyle, malnutrition, not handling stress, not getting outside, not exercising. And you can now use things like peptides and hydrogen and things like that to magnify the benefits of the mitochondrial rejuvenation process. And then you have to test. We have the ability now to test the epigenetic quantification, if you will, of the aging process. In other words, Tom Renz may be in the 40s, but does Tom Renz's biological age have to be in the 40s? The answer is absolutely not. And can you test that? Yes, but we're not using those tests because, back to the bureaucratic nonsense, that's not what insurance does. So all that said, to just paraphrase that, insurance has our expectations faulty, and anything from a faulty expectation is going to become faulty activation and innovation processes.
Yeah, 100%. Mark, you brought up something I think is really important. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of the peptides. I'm a big fan of it. I've played with that a bit, and I really, really like it. But they're not all the same. And a lot of people, I think, there's a real risk of confusion that I really think is important to talk about. So we see right now there's a lot of stuff out there about the issues with Ozempic. And there's no question that there are issues with Ozempic. But my understanding is that part of those issues stem from the fact that first of all, it's Ozempic. So it's a specific peptide. It's not all peptides, it's Ozempic. And second of all, that a lot of times we're seeing it overprescribed, people taking too much of it, overuse, things like that. Can you kind of fill us in? I mean, you're literally the expert on this. Can you fill me in a little bit on this?
Yes, of course. So you can look at the drugs out there: Ozempic, Mounjaro, Wegovy, tirzepatide, all these out there. They're out there, and they're prescribed a lot of time for this idea of weight loss because we need to lose weight as a society, and losing weight is a good goal. I mean, that's a need right now. We're in a crisis mode because normalization of excess fat has become the norm, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And people like yourself and myself were looked at as radicals or weirdos, and we're not participatory in our current culture. With that said, we have to do something so these peptides could become useful. Could, meaning the key word. Peptides are nothing more or less than chains of amino acid. The active ingredient we're looking at within Ozempic and some of his others primarily is this peptide called semaglutide. And semaglutide's job really is, Tom, to produce an agonist of a signal, GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1, that goes from the GI tract, upper GI tract, to the brain to say, I've had enough fuel, I've had enough food. And so they can help in that way. But here's the problem. And then with the problem, that they're having, they're prescribing them to lose weight. And I said we got a problem with weight. Yes, we do. But we don't want to prescribe or have the goal to lose weight. Rather, we want to have the goal to improve body composition, because you can lose
Yeah.
weight by losing muscle and fat, or losing all muscle. But that doesn't mean you got more healthy. And that becomes problem number one. Problem number two is they're still operating under this premise that calories matter. Eat less calories, lose more weight. But the problem with that is all calories are not created equal. And you got a bowl of M&Ms versus a bowl of, or a bucket of salad. Same calories, which one's more healthy? And then the third issue is when you cut down the appetite, and this is very important for our listeners viewing right now. I'm holding up two fists together. That's the size of your heart. When I remove one fist, that's the size of your stomach. So if all you can do is fill up this fist-size space with matter inside, it becomes critical to ensure that you put solid calorie load in there, not just from calories, but high nutrient density. If you don't, you can become nutrient deficient, leading to more bone loss, muscle loss, hair loss, sarcopenia, and frankly, that's where we are. It's a lack of proper common sense with prescription usages of these things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and you're right, and it's one of the things I know you preach, and I think it's really valuable, is really the understanding that body composition is the key. It's not how much you weigh on a scale; it's how you look in a mirror. And honestly, people like, well, that's very self-centered. No. How you look in a mirror reflects your health far better than a scale can. Right? I mean, you can be, I'm 6'4", right? And I weigh about 235-ish. I'm very lean. I'm very healthy. I'm work out a lot. I'm in great shape. You can be 235 at 6'4" and be chubby. You can. I've seen people look pretty chubby. So the difference is tremendous. And it really just depends on what you do. But that's really a key thing. Now, why wasn't stuff like this being talked about at the Maha Summit? Why weren't we talking about, I mean, instead, we didn't talk about any of this. None of it.
No, it's not personalized healthcare. It's generalized healthcare. And I'd submit to you, it's probably not generalized healthcare. It's probably generalized sick care. Because, look, when people come to see us, frankly, I don't care what they weigh. I want to get men's body composition to, generally speaking, between 10 and about 18%, women's between about 18 and 26%, give or take, as a general rule. And we are trying to keep them out of that system. So for us, it's a win when they're not getting sick all the time. It's a win when they're not on a bunch of prescription drugs. It's a win when they're not having to, call their GP all the time. And it's a win when they can send a quality blood test to their GP and said, I don't need my wellness check because I got this. You want to read this? And of course, they're going to say, what's that? And you just go on about your business. So you're keeping your deductible in your pocket. That's a great economical decision. Keep your deductible in your pocket and realize that the more you do that, that money can work for you as opposed to working for the big pharma complex.
100%. Mark, I know that you can't stick around. I got a whole lot more ranting to do, but I appreciate you making the time. I know you're on the road, and it's good to see you. It's been a minute.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Tom. I always appreciate you, and thanks for letting me respond to these things. I think it's good to give a balanced approach to things so people can have, we talked about this, informed consent. Make a good decision with every available part of information you can get.
I appreciate it. Mark, you have safe travels and have a great day. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Tom. See you later.
Talk later. All right. There he is, the man, the legend, Mark Sherwood, my friend. Listen, so let's get back to this Maha Summit, right? So we got AI, we got big pharma, we got all these different things. Now, there were some good things, right? The focus on anti-aging and biohacking tech, which I did like. Now, I don't like the way that the Ozempic's being used, but I do like peptides. And I've caught a little bit of hell because I had some people want me to jump up and down about the Ozempic more than I have. And I said, listen, if you waste, here's how I look at this, folks. There are a lot of people in this country who've ate enough McDonald's and sat on their rear ends long enough that they weigh 500-600 pounds. At that point, you're going to have to take, you are sick. So you need sick care, right? So I don't have as big of a problem with that as you might think. Like, I don't like people ODing on it. I personally, like, I've looked at the different GLPs and some of these different things. If you're going to take a peptide for weight loss, I like tirzepatide. I don't like the Ozempic or the Wegovy. I think the tirzepatide is the best of them. But, the best way to do it is to eat healthy and work out. That's just the best way. I've never used any of the weight loss peptides. I'm not pushing for that direction. But I do understand that there's a time and a place for it. Like I said, but that's not MAHA, right? MAHA is not going to be pushing, Ozempic. And the big thing with Ozempic is I don't trust it because I don't trust the manufacturer. I don't trust anything from Big Pharma. Pfizer is so damn crooked. Man. So you got some good things. One of the things I got a boot out of was Bobby did, he talked about saturated fats, meat and dairy consumption as a good thing. And it is. It is. I mean, we need to eat a hell of a lot more of that stuff. And I'm a big fan of it. So there were things about this that were good, but there are also things that were bad. The corporate partnerships, right? To try and get them to do healthier food. Well, I got an idea. How about enforcing the law on some of this? How about changing the regulations so that you're not allowed to sell fake meat? How about changing the regulations so that you have to actually properly test drugs before they're approved? We're not doing any of that. It's just a joke. Folks, this whole MAHA summit to me was very disappointing. And I like the people. I like a lot of the people. I mean, I like Bobby. I like these guys. But you could see from the beginning, I got this article from The Hill that I looked at on this. And I'll tell you what's very, very clear. This was controlled from the top down. 100%. This was not something that was MAHA. MAHA's grassroots. That's the core of MAHA. And I don't care who's got what trademarks. The reality is that MAHA as a movement, it's grassroots. And this wasn't grassroots. This was big money, big pharma, big health, big ag, and it's corrupt. It's just corrupt. It's been corrupted. So, I like Bobby. I like these guys. Bobby knows what the truth is. Bobby can't even tell the truth because Susie and crew will fire him. That's the way it will go down. And trust me, it will. So anyways, the whole thing made me sick. I can't get behind it. I don't support it. And that's that. All right. The whole MAHA conference pissed me off, but I got to tell you, I got one thing that may have pissed me off more. Ben, can we put this up on the screen? I want to share my Twitter feed here. Today I look online and I see this from Donald Trump. Quote, the Democrats are trying to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein hoax again because they'll do anything at all to deflect on how badly we've done on the shutdown and on so many other subjects. Only very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap. The Democrats cost our country $1.5 trillion in their recent antics of viciously closing our country, while at the same time putting many at risk. And they should pay a fair price. There should be no deflections to Epstein or anything else, and Republicans involved should be focused only on opening our country and fixing the massive damage caused by the Democrats. With all due respect, Mr. President, you're full of shit. I don't know what else to say about that. That is the biggest load of crap I have ever seen. You want to talk about deflection? Let's talk about this. The Jeffrey Epstein hoax. Okay, well, your Justice Department's done stuff on this. Your Justice Department under your first administration did stuff on this. You yourself said we were going to look into it during your campaign. Everybody in and around you has said that we were going to look into it. Pam Bondi said she had a truckload of evidence, which now apparently has gone missing. Epstein and Maxwell were both prosecuted. Judges, politicians, right, left, Democrat, center, everybody's talked about this for 3 decades. Now you want us to believe this is a hoax? Mr. President, what dumbass posted this for you? What buffoon put this on your social media under your name? What lying, crooked advisor did this? Because they're making you look bad, Mr. President. We need you. And instead of telling me, only a bad, stupid Republican would fall into that trap. This is the deflection. The shutdown's over. I don't need to talk about the shutdown. You know what's still going on? The child rape ring that hasn't been shut down unless, you think no one's continued? You think after Epstein it was done? There's no prosecutions. Do you think Prince Andrew suddenly went straight and quit molesting children? At least that's the allegation, is that that's what he was doing. Do you think that happened? Do you think Bill Gates, who spent all that time on Lolita Express, is he all good? But you had him in the White House, didn't you? You just had him at the White House. There's no deflection here. This isn't a deflection. I got to tell you, MTG and Massey got this one right, and you got it dead wrong, Mr. President. We need you back. Where the hell is Donald Trump? Where is it? So I was annoyed when I saw this, folks, because listen, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I know what's going on here. So I said, with all due respect to a president, I continue to support this as BS. It is, and I do continue to support Trump on many things, not this one. Epstein, going back to my tweet, Epstein ran a child rape ring for the elites. Everyone knows it, and you cannot rewrite decades of acknowledgement of that fact by people on both sides of the aisle, the courts, and law enforcement by posting this garbage. No one likes the Dems, but this was one of your issues in the past, and all you were doing is discrediting yourself amongst your strongest supporters, and that is what he's doing. To quit, I don't believe. Should I believe Trump now? Why should I believe Trump now? He keeps lying to me about the Epstein stuff. Why would I believe him? Do I just trust him? If he's lying, why should I believe him? What, you don't believe the 3 decades of people telling you what happened? You don't believe the fact that he was put in jail? You don't believe Pam Bondi herself, who said that she had the evidence before she didn't? Pam Bondi definitely lied in one of the 2 places. When do you trust a liar? I don't. I'm pleading with you to fire your crooked advisors that keep telling you this. They are the swamp. I don't know who keeps telling Trump that he needs to protect the child rapists and the Epstein ring, but they're worse than the swamp. That's worse. These are people who are trying to protect it's child molesters, folks. How can you possibly support that? This is insanity on every level. I can't even fathom this. I can't even fathom. I said, America needs the old real Donald Trump, the fighter that stood for truth and the American people, not the elite. We, the people, need you, Mr. President. Please fire the liar and crooks who continue to push these patently false and absurd statements and lead us in MAGA and MAHA again. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. Now, here's the deal. Everything about this was bullcrap. Oh, we got to focus on the shutdown, focus on the shutdown. No, I want the Epstein list. I want to see it. I don't want to see this garbage. I don't want any more lies. I don't want to hear it. These are child rapists. If you won't stand against child rapists, what will you stand for? What are we doing with this? Folks, there's deflection here. There's deflection here, but it ain't people, it ain't the Democrats. They're garbage. Don't get me wrong. The Democrats should all be, caged up, I guess. I don't know. They're awful. But the deflection here is just this unbelievable desire to avoid looking at the Epstein debacle. Why would we have that? Why would we do that? Why are we so afraid? Who is on that list that Trump is trying to protect, or Trump's advisors are trying to protect? And now we know Trump isn't. That's clear as day. We know that Trump's clean on this. So you got to ask yourself, what is going on here, right? Why would Donald Trump ever be willing to do this? Now, I want to talk about where this takes us, right? So we're supposed to believe that there's this big fight between the Democrats and the Republicans. On one side, you got Donald Trump fighting for our country, and on the other side, you have the leftist Democrats who do things like the shutdown. Okay, well, you know what? Things like the shutdown aren't all that relevant. What? Yeah. Let me tell you why. Did you notice anything outside of a few delays at the airports, which do affect me because I fly all the time? Did you really notice anything in your day-to-day life? Of course you didn't. Nobody cared it was shut down. It didn't make any difference. Oh no, the freaking fat chicks on Snap can't get more Twinkies. Well, so what? Here's the deal. If you want to know what's important, don't look at what they're fighting about. Look at what they're not fighting about. Both the Democrats and the Republicans were fine avoiding Epstein. Now, when the Democrats were in power, they could have dropped the Epstein list, but they didn't. Republicans are in power, now they won't drop it. Who's got something to cover up? Both of them. But whoever's not in power seems to be taking on the duty of protecting whoever is in power, but nobody seems to want the Epstein list out. Now, do I think that the Democrats may have manipulated the data? Absolutely. I mean, do I think they might have toyed with evidence? 100%. I mean, they're corrupt as shit. But do I think that that the Republicans are clean on this? No. Epstein's job was to manipulate and control and to find ways to control politicians. This was an intelligence operation. Everybody knows it, right? And at this point, there's extensive amounts of evidence out there pointing to certain intel agencies of certain allies that we have being involved in this. The Epstein cover-up was there for a reason, right? We all know it was there. We know what it was. It was a control thing. So that means that if Epstein did anything, he probably did a hell of a job of getting both Democrats and Republicans. What have you seen from it, folks? What have you seen from it? Why wouldn't the Republicans go after the Democrats? Why wouldn't the Democrats go after the Republicans? Whenever there's a party in power, the other party gripes about the Epstein, but nobody actually does anything, and the party in power always avoids it. It's because both parties were manipulated and controlled with this. Nobody wants, I mean, this is a fake fight, just like everything else that happens in Washington, it's fake. You know what's moving ahead that nobody's fighting on? Nobody's fighting on Pfizer and their vaccines. Everybody's good with that. I mean, nobody talks about that. So what they do is they don't talk about the things that they all agree on, right? Because they can't have that. What they do is they talk about the things they want to fight over or distract us over. Now, in this case, it's interesting because both sides have called for the release of the Epstein documents, but only when the other side's in power and they know it isn't going to happen. It's just political shenanigans, folks. It's all just a game. There is no right and left. We, the people, are right and left. We, the people, have ideological differences until you sit down and talk to people on the other side. Ask Charlie Kirk. But if you do what Charlie Kirk did and you start bringing people together, guess what happens? You get shot because all the money is made off of us fighting with each other. Even though we really aren't that far apart on many, many, many issues. Don't get me wrong. There's radical leftist nutbags. I mean, we're never going to get, no sane person is ever going to be okay with having a child cut their wiener off, right? That's not sane. But those aren't Democrats. Those are nutbags. You know, there's a lot of nutbags, but that's not the reason the Democrat Party's failing is because the Democrats are leaving it because they're nuts and they don't support that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, the point here is that what's happened to right and left? What's happened to Democrat and Republican? There is none. There's no Democrat and Republican. None at all. all we've got right now is a bunch of crooks on both sides that are, they pretend that we're fighting. They pretend that there's some sort of something for us to fight over, but they never actually, it's all meaningless dribble. It's like food dyes. Food dyes in Maha. Let's get rid of those food dyes. We got to look at the progress we're making. We got rid of food dyes. Okay. Meanwhile, Bill Gates is moving ahead with appeal and organic appeal, and we're using mRNA on our crops. We're using mRNA on our food. I mean, don't worry about the things that are going to kill you. We got rid of food dyes. Folks, you got to keep your eye on the ball here. There are foxes in the henhouse. Trump's blind trust for his advisors is insane, especially in light of the way his first term went down. Right now we're on the verge of losing the midterms on a profound level. And what happens then? Donald Trump will be impeached immediately or sooner. No question about it. Then where are we? Now, Trump may not be perfect, and I may grumble about what he's doing on a couple of these things, but I mean, where are we if he gets impeached? A lame duck J.D. Vance presidency? I mean, an absolutely useless, backup, politically destroyed J.D. Vance presidency? I mean, that's not a good thing. That's not winning. That's not going to be a positive thing for anything or anyone. And I mean, it's just going to be a disaster. That's where this is all, but it's all smoke and mirrors. There's no right or left in Washington. It's just a uniparty and them playing us and convincing us that right and left matters to them. They don't care. They just care about who's signing their checks. So I want to pull this up. If we put this on the screen. So I got this, I want to tie this in a little bit, right? So we've got Tucker and Ben Shapiro here, right? So Ben Shapiro is a sellout who, listen, I am a supporter of Israel. I'm a supporter of the Jewish people. I do not support Benjamin Netanyahu. I think he's a crook. The Israeli government is crooked right now. Shapiro is owned by that crooked government. Shapiro is bought and paid for by the corrupt Netanyahu government, in my opinion. I support Israel. I support the Jewish people. I don't support corruption in Israel. But Ben Shapiro is great with that. He's fine with it. He's just all in for it. So this is Tucker talking a little bit about Shapiro on this. And I kind of want to play this for you guys. So let me play this.
Feeling that way about someone in your own country. Imagine having that level of contempt for a fellow American. You don't even know anything about the person. It's young people, they're not entitled to live where they want. They'll live where BlackRock tells them they can live. It's like, whoa. If you had a thought like that, I've had some ugly thoughts. I just admitted having some ugly thoughts. Boy, I would try and push it back and not express it. Ben says it without any embarrassment because he means it. That's exactly right, because he means it. Whew. I don't think that you can win a popular debate with that attitude, because irrespective of the content of your sentence, people can feel the loathing that the speaker has for them. Ben Shapiro just does not care about you at all. Is not even pretending to care about you. So again, it really doesn't matter what he's selling. That guy is not going to make the sale if people are free to buy whatever they want. It's like, I don't know what that guy's selling, but he doesn't like me. I can feel it right away. He doesn't care at all about me at all. And he thinks so little of me, he's not even going to put on the dog. He's not even going to try to pretend to care about me. And a guy like that, whew, he really needs censorship and bullying to succeed, because the free market does not reward a man like that at all, ever, because people don't like it. Why would they like it? Here's another clip that makes basically the same point. That is in some ways even more disgusting, maybe less well known. Here's Ben Shapiro telling you that if you ever want to retire, stop working to pay off your 50 freaking year mortgage. You own the house really for 50 years. Okay, no, I'm renting it. I'll be 90 by the time I pay it off, which of course I won't, because I got all kinds of other loans too. So if you complain about that, if you have these dreams of working really hard and retiring, how dare you? How dare you? Here's Ben Shapiro.
No one in the United States should be retiring at 65 years old. Frankly, I think retirement itself is a stupid idea unless you have some sort of health problem. It's totally insane that you believe that you should be able to work from the time that you are essentially 20 to the time that you are 65, which is a 45-year period, pay in, and then you will receive Social Security benefits sufficient to support you and your family, you and your wife or whatever, for another 20 years. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, it's crazy talk. How dare you? How dare you? Now, the conventional response to this, I've heard people say it, is, well, Ben Shapiro can say that because he's a podcaster. He's not climbing ladders for a living. And if you climb ladders for a living, you know or do any kind of physical labor, even light physical labor, your body breaks down. It's just a fact. And if you're around people who've done it, you know, by the time they get to 50, they're limping and they're in pain. That's why they're, you know, you go to these little towns around the country and most businesses are gone. There are no furniture stores or no toy stores. Like, they're all gone. They're all at Walmart. They're a husk. But what you do find next to the, you know, the drug rehab places are chiropractors, or a lot of chiropractors throughout the country. It's because poorer people, working class people, blue collar people are aching. They have trouble walking. Their backs hurt. So retirement for a man who climbs ladders is a little bit different from a man who hosts a podcast. But that's not even the point that I would make. That's true, of course. He's pure contempt for people who work with their bodies, and he should be judged for that. But I think it's deeper than that. It's like, how dare you tell me when I should retire? Who are you exactly? Who gave you the moral authority to judge when I retire? That's insane. You're like a child who's got some deal with Facebook, or whatever, whoever you are. You are not God. You have no right to talk to me like that. But you do because you have no respect for me. You have no love for me at all. No. And it does kind of point to the core problem, not with Ben Shapiro, who will not be a factor in America in 5 years. I can promise you that. Or Mark Levin. Let's hope he gets better. No, it points to the problem with their leaders. They don't like the people they lead. That's it right there. They have no love for the people they lead. And all leadership is based on the patriarchal model. Amen. The father is a good father because he loves his children. He may make mistakes, but ultimately he comes back to true north because he loves them. That's what keeps him honest, his sincere love for his children. That is the model for all leadership. That's the model for leadership in the military, in a company. That's the model for rhetorical leadership. You want people to follow you? You want to sell your ideas to them? You want to convince them that what you're saying is true? Show some love for them. Demonstrate that you care about them. Why are we doing this? Because we think it's better for you. Shapiro and all of these guys, they don't make an effort to do that because they don't feel that way at all. Shut up, cattle. You're a Nazi. Give us the money for our preferred little country, or else we're going to denounce you. Man.
Well, there you have it, folks. I thought that was pretty good. So here's the deal. Shapiro doesn't like you. Neither does Mark Levin. They like their own pocketbooks. And this is the reason I don't like Shapiro, right? He's a little weasel, a little weenie. I agree with Tucker completely. He doesn't, who the hell is he to tell me when I should retire? But here's the deal. They're right-wingers, supposedly. They're leaders in the right wing. Just like Washington, just like what we're seeing with the Epstein files, just like what we're seeing with the vaccine stuff, there is no right or left. It's all an illusion. It's all the big dollar people paying big dollar people off to do big dollar things, and the rest of us are left in behind. Shapiro doesn't like you. He doesn't give a damn about you. He's a little weenie. He's a self-absorbed douche. He thinks he's special. I mean, he's out here trying to chastise a guy like Tucker, saying that Tucker's anti-Semitic. But here's the problem. He supports a government that force vaccinated its people with mRNA poisons. You know who supports the Jewish people? Guys like me who fought against vaccinating the people in Israel or elsewhere. I didn't want that. I fought against. But meanwhile, no, Shapiro's going to judge. Listen, Netanyahu's a crook. He funded Hamas through Qatar. But you know, Ben Shapiro, I'm a good man. Tucker's an anti-Semite. Listen, this is hypocrisy, and from top to bottom, there's no right or left in this country. What there is corruption from both sides, and just a massive quantity of BS. That's all this is. It's a massive, massive quantity of BS. We see everywhere we look. We see guys like Shapiro and Mark Levin getting elevated because they say what they're getting paid to say. Meanwhile, truth tellers like Tucker, Tucker grew and had a huge platform before he went out on his own and started saying what he wanted. So luckily, Tucker's doing good. You got a few guys. Joe Rogan kind of says what he wants to say because Rogan's got a big enough platform. He can do what he wants. You know, he came up in sports, came up there. Now he talks about whatever he wants because he got huge. But try and build your platform telling the truth without taking a buy-off. I can tell you right now, my platform would explode if I would take a buy-off. I would explode. There'd be 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 people just on X watching the show at minimum in the first 15 minutes. But I won't take the buy-off. I'm not going to take the buy-off. So meanwhile, sellouts like Shapiro and Levin, they do great. They're going to all the fancy stuff at the White House, going to all the fancy stuff here and there. They're selling out all over the place. That's what's going on here. And we saw some of that even at the Maha conference yesterday. You know, they invite Pfizer, they invite, Eli and Regeneron. I just every crooked group. I mean, every crooked group that you can think of. AstraZeneca, CRISPR. I mean, it's not right or left, folks. There's no right or left in Washington. It's just money and who you're going to buy off first. I'm kind of sick of seeing it. I'm more than a little nauseated by it. And, we've got to fight back. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all listening today, folks. Lots to grumble about, but we got to keep fighting. We need it more than ever. So make sure you check back tomorrow. I look forward to the day. I look forward to night, and we'll be back very soon.
Thank you for watching the Tom Renz Show. Join us live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, putting an axe in the skull of tyranny.
The MAGA revolution in cryptocurrency is here, reclaiming financial freedom for every American. Tired of globalist banks and deep state control? Blockchain is our weapon for sovereignty. Be a step ahead with Animus AI technology. Ranked #1 worldwide, exclusively available through Block Trust IRA. But beware, the wild ride volatility and scams lurk. Yet, with Trump-era policies like the Genius Act, we're tokenizing prosperity for veterans and the heartland. Globalist elites are panicking as leftist-controlled banks scrabble in the dust as MAGA investors access revolutionary technology. Reclaim your freedom with Block Trust IRA.
Join the fight to protect your wealth. Go to TomRensCrypto.com and talk to Block Trust IRA now.
Listen live to The Tom Renz Show Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern.